There is so much hype and excitement for Black Ops 6 Zombies, and with DLC 1 right around the corner, I thought it would be a great idea to bring in MZC into the conversation to hear what he has to say all about it. There are so many leaks and rumors swirling around the community about this new map, so I wanted to talk about it. I also wanted to get a little bit of insight into his YouTube career and some other things regarding Black Ops 6, so let's dive right in. I found your channel, was it 2 years ago? It was during the drought of Zombies, Vanguard-ish era. I think it was Vanguard. It had to have been. And you were uploading shorts like a madman. And I honestly want to say, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, and feel free to take credit for it if you did, I think you pioneered the new era of zombie shorts.
Dude, there was one person that was posting before me and by the name of like The Frosty, and he's a really dope guy. We've had some conversations before. It wasn't like he was doing guides. It was mostly just like quick facts and stuff like that about zombies. But yeah, dude, when I started getting into it, I'm surprised how quickly things took off just because I feel like there wasn't really much going on in the short space. And I think that's what really helped kind of propel my channel was just like the lack of content in the shorts feed, which I mean, the shorts are predominantly, directed to people based on an algorithm, and just they're not really being anything in the algorithm really is what kind of helped me get there. But yeah, other than the Frosty, I don't really remember anybody that was uploading any sort of shorts. People like the bigger creators had tried it, but it was like they only made like 1 or 2 shorts. And I feel like because they were predominantly long form content or live streams, it just didn't stick with it long enough for it to actually like kind of hit really hard.
But they weren't doing what you were doing either. Like you were doing, maybe I'm remembering incorrectly because it's been a while since I've seen some of the older ones, but like you were also picking really, really clever screenshots to get started. So if people scrolled to them in their feed, they were like super duper clever. Okay, you weren't doing text. First, it's weird. My memory like remembers you doing text, but it looks like you didn't really do subtitles.
Text was like very recently, within the last like probably 6 months, 8 months. I feel like the text really started to be like a staple for most people's shorts. But yeah, I kind of started looking at the short feed, like how I'm not like maybe a little bit younger. No, our generation, maybe a little bit older too. Everyone grew up on like Vine. That was really big back in the day.
Dude,
and I was like, dude,
Vine.
our attention spans, dude, Vine was the best. I'm so sad they took that away and that all those videos are just gone to history now. But yeah, I looked at Vine and was like, man, most of our attention spans, especially when I'm scrolling through shorts or like, Instagram reels or TikTok, like it's within the first 5 seconds, I'm either committed to this video or I'm off this video. So When I first started doing it, I was like, I want the premier shot. Like if I'm explaining a wonder weapon, I want the first shot to be like an inspect or a a shot of me actually using the wonder weapons so that people just kind of naturally, even if they're not paying attention to what I'm saying, are kind of just like mindlessly following along with what's going on the screen rather than, having me try to explain the first 10, 15 seconds of the video.
Well, the other thing about the whole guides thing, and this is something I took inspiration from you. I didn't really do guides, but I'll get to my point here. Basically, you basically, and this was happening with other creators in just YouTube in general, but you were part of this movement. Is you guys figured out how to condense a whole entire video into a short. That was not really being done before until like 2-3 years ago ish. I can't remember the exact time period, but like people were making shorts of like weird things and clipping stuff from podcasts or maybe a live stream or whatever. And it was working, I guess. But like you were taking like an entire no nonsense Mr. Waffles guide and putting it into like 13 to 60 seconds. And that had never really been done before. And also it tells a story and it was nostalgia baiting a little bit, which is totally fine. I mean, I'm not like, it's not a criticism. But so I loved that. And I was like, oh, it would be sick. And because I didn't really think about it in this context, I was like, what if it would I thought it would just be cool to do it with side Easter eggs. So then every time I made a retrospective in my videos, I would just take every side Easter egg and like make a short about it pretty much. And so I was like, oh, that's so sick. And sometimes I would kind of make it guidey. Like I didn't want to like copy you. So I was like, I want to still do this stuff because I think it's cool and fun. But like he's doing like straight up kind of like guides and telling this story. And so I tried to do like other facts or whatever and make it I tried to be different, but I mean it's hard with only 60 seconds. But I really do believe, and I'm sorry, I'm not trying to like glaze you or anything, I just really do believe that you kind of pioneered this space. But then here's the kicker: a lot of people don't really understand how hard this is. Not only did you do this, which skyrocketed your channel, but you transitioned your viewers to become long form enjoyers of your content. Yep. That is actually why I'm so impressed.
I appreciate it, man. Dude, I have been so like nervous for Black Ops 6, like so excited because I had very high expectations for the game. I believed in my heart of hearts for the last like 2 or 3 years that like if I could just get myself to Black Ops 6, that I'd have like a long form viewer, not like revolution for the channel or renaissance, but just like to get to that point where it'd become more stable for me. So like a couple of years ago, well, like a year ago, actually, my YouTube started making a little bit more than the job that I was working at for me. And I just kind of like took the risk of like, okay, I have this career path that I'm going down. But do I really want to work for somebody and try to work my way up through like a system, or do I want to just like go all in on my dream? And so, you know, it was a huge risk at the time because I was still primarily doing short form content. And I was like, I can either just like believe in myself and take the risk and say like, okay, at some point it's going to like translate and carry over, even if it's like, you know, just livable money for the first year or two until Black Ops 6 actually hits. But yeah, dude, like I've been so nervous for this game and so nervous for the channel and for content, and just to see it kind of, you know, really take a big jump and take that leap of faith. And over the last at least month, you know, pull in a ton of long form viewers and a lot of new subscribers and just long form views in general. Like it's, dude, I can't even believe that it's honestly happened that way, because I've seen so many other people in the short space, not even in the COD community, but just that have done shorts that have popped up on my feed. I'll look at their channel and they'll have 1 million, 2 million subscribers and all their views are from shorts. But then I'll look at their long form content. They've only got like 3,000 views, yeah, 4,000 views. And like, I just got so scared. Like, dude, I feel like I could do this. I feel like if I just go all in, I could actually like kind of transition and make the leap. But you know, of course, we're always like, you know, it's peaks and valleys in YouTube, especially in the zombies community. But like, there were just times where I'm sitting there looking at like myself and just being like, dude, did I make the right decision? Like, was it really worth it? Like, should I have really done this and gone all in just based on how my shorts were doing? But no, dude, yeah, absolutely. Like I've been kind of a nervous wreck for the past couple of months, freaking out. Like, dude, is this actually going to happen? Is this actually going to work out? And so far, I mean, to this point, knock on wood, hopefully everything continues the way it has. Like, yeah, man, I'm very blessed to be in the position that I am right now.
Yeah, no, it's definitely worked. And for anybody out there that's interested in making content, I just want you to know that like if you're getting 3,000, 4,000 views on your videos and you're outputting a lot, like you can still have a good side income on YouTube and make some decent money. But I mean, it might be hard to make your full-time gig or whatever, but you can still have a decent little career doing what you love. But I think really where it solidified that this was going to work for you, in my opinion, was not the Red Worm boss fight video, because that one took off for you, but the side Easter egg video. Yeah, and that video really skyrocketed for you. And then we kind of had a little bit of a downtrodden period, and also all the big dudes were coming back. So I feel like everybody kind of saw a lull in views. But then, you know, the Easter egg guide, and now your views are stabilizing, and now you're getting, not every video hits, and that's totally normal. And especially when we have such high competition in the space, but now your views are starting to stabilize, and your thumbnails are getting better. Like, your channel has just become so professional over the last, like, I mean, with your shorts, it's been really good for years, but over the last, like, I would say 8 months, I've really seen you like mature into like a really great YouTuber. So it's like, kudos to you, man. Just wanted to
thank you, man. I really appreciate that. And coming from you, because like, dude, I found your channel and your retrospective guides on Black Ops 4 when they had like just a couple thousands of views. I was on a vacation trip and like a 12-hour drive and just like sitting in the back seat of my car looking for stuff to kind of tide the journey there. But I remember I started coming across your stuff and I was like, bro, if I could just ever like model myself after somebody in terms of like the quality, like I kind of really pride myself on trying to at least make the highest quality, or make every video of quality. But just like seeing the amount of time that it took you to have to go into theater mode for certain shots, and just like the subtle transition between theater mode and, you know, just the regular gameplay, and the amount of detail and attention to detail that you put into those 40, 50 minute videos was amazing to me, because it's like most people just upload like a 50-minute compilation of their stream or of a playthrough and stuff like that. And if it ever gets to that point, there's like little lulls and gaps in the actual footage and the quality of the footage where it's like, okay, so you could tell they just used like a clip for 15 minutes of filler right here, but like every single 30 seconds less than that is like cutting to something different, and everything that you're saying is exactly what's on the screen. And I feel like that's what really makes like content high quality. And it's kind of almost like a lost art in just not in the zombies community. I'm not trying to throw shade on anybody at all whatsoever. Just like in content nowadays is like so many people are just kind of putting out whatever they can to get up there just because it is what it is, or they have a large enough audience where like, dude, like you actually pay attention to what you're editing, and I can tell like you take pride, and you just probably would rather a video take 3 months to edit rather than just slap something up in a week just to say it's out and get it done.
No, I do appreciate it. I do. Those videos were grueling, but I like, they took a lot of time. I remember I would like output one and I'd be like, all right, on to the next one. But I'd take like 2 weeks off because I would just be so like tired from putting all that effort into it. But no, I do appreciate it. And yeah, I do think that like the retrospective thing, it's like it's a common kind of video that people like to make, and that's great. I want people to make retrospectives and reviews and stuff, but it's like, how do you stand out in such a crowded room? And I just didn't know if anybody was kind of putting that cinematic element towards the content. And since I have like experience in like video production and stuff, I was like, oh, I'll just kind of put a new flavor onto the videos, and it's worked. So I'm pretty stoked about it.
Really quickly, even just like the writing, like when you're talking about like the Easter egg, like you're not just sitting there going, okay, now over on this area of the map, you pick up this part and piece. Like you're actually like telling the story of the Easter egg while blending it through the retrospective. Like it's fantastic. You gotta do them for all the other maps, man. I swear.
No, I appreciate it. I do plan on it. I want to do like Infinite Warfare and World War II first, and then I want to like go through all the old Treyarch games, but. Because I'm going to have to do a lot of people are probably going to think I'm an idiot for saying this and never trust my opinions again. But like, I don't know a ton about the history of BO1 and BO2 because I wasn't really playing the game then, wasn't really paying attention. Yeah. So like, there's like a lot of research I'm going to have to do for that to make those videos pop. So it's going to be curious because I'm probably going to have opinions that other people don't have simply because I don't have the nostalgia for those games. Like I just don't.
Right. Yeah,
but no, I really do appreciate it. I think I actually remember talking to you a long time ago in a chat when I was under the Skeptic's name, and I was like talking to you about like how it felt to finally figure out how to make a video. And it's like it's so funny because for anybody out there that's like trying to make content or do YouTube or whatever, you overanalyze everything for such a long time. For the people who figure it out right away, I hate you and I never want to speak to you again. But for those of us who actually like struggled and have to make second channels and stuff, you just overanalyze it and you're like, why isn't this working? Why isn't this working? And then all of a sudden it clicks, and it's actually a lot more simple than you think. It's a complicated job in the sense of there's a lot of moving parts, but each part in its own is actually quite simple. It's just about weaving them together. And so, don't give up out there. You can definitely do it. And like I work with clients who are trying to build their own YouTube channels all the time. And I actually, funny enough, I tell them to not do the strategy that you did, because it's so hard to transfer from shorts to long form. But if you're good at what you do, you can make it work. So yeah, man. Oh, go ahead.
To your point, I've had like 4 or 5 other channels prior to this. I had a Star Wars Battlefront channel for a little bit, and like I was originally under a different alias in the community from pretty much like Black Ops 1 up until Black Ops after Cold War. My channel got hacked by some like cryptocurrency scam or something.
Oh, you got part of that? Dang.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I looked at my phone one day and I had this like really weird message, and I clicked into it and I knew immediately. I was like, oh shit, I shouldn't have even like clicked it. Like I didn't click like the link or anything, just into the text. And I immediately ran to my computer and looked at my like Google account, and I was signed out. I looked at my channel on my phone, and it was like broadcasting like fake Tesla streams with Elon Musk. Yeah. And I was like, oh dude, I just started uploading again too. And I was feeling good about this. Like, goddamn, like I was so mad. But if that never happened to me, I would have never made this channel. So I'd still be, beating a dead horse on a 12-year-old channel that uploaded for 2 weeks at a time and then would disappear for 3 months.
See, that's crazy, because that was happening to like Linus Tech Tips. I think it happened to Neuro Cinema. It was happening to a lot of different channels. That's crazy. And it's funny because a lot of people are like, why did you change your channel? And like, they're asking me like, why did you get rid of Skeptics and change it? It's because I was doing the same thing that you were just talking about. I was like uploading few and far between. I didn't have a plan. And then when I started uploading the retrospectives, funny enough, the first couple were doing really well. But then after Alpha Omega, they all started to go downhill on that channel. And I don't know why. Like my 9 one only got like 12,000 views. The Voyage one only got like 20,000, which I mean is still great. I'm not like upset about that, but I was like, why did the Blood of the Dead one get like 100,000, but why were these ones not doing as well? And so I did an experiment, and I was like, what would happen if I just created a new channel from scratch and re-uploaded everything that and just like dedicate this new channel to this type of content. And it worked. And now my new channel has almost 12,000 subscribers. It took me a year to get 1,000 on my Skeptics channel. And this took me, this started happening in March. So whatever month it is now. So 7 months to get 12,000 subscribers. So it's like, as soon as you figure out like kind of how to work YouTube, you can grow quickly. But now it's like, now I just took my old channel. It's going to be community based podcast, like reactions and stuff for the community. And like, I think that's just, I don't want to waste it, but it's like, until I get hacked by Elon Musk, I'm just going to have fun with it.
Yep. All
right. So enough YouTube talk. I could talk about YouTube for the rest of my life. It's so interesting to me, but let's just get to the Black Ops 6 Zombies info. How are you feeling about the game? I know you were just alluding to it a second ago about, hoping it was going to be great and kind of revolutionizing your channel and your life, but are you really enjoying it, or do you just think it's okay? Like, what are you feeling?
No, dude, I am in love with this game all around, not even just zombies, all around multiplayer. I think it's fantastic too. But dude, I had such high expectations for this game. With Black Ops 4, it seemed like it was doomed to fail just because of like what was going on behind the scenes. And then with Cold War, between a short dev time and then, honestly, probably, COVID took a huge hit on them. And then probably going back to the drawing board and trying to figure out like what worked and what didn't work with they went too far in Black Ops 4, in my opinion, for the casual fan. And then they tried to cater to the casual fan in Cold War, and they lost kind of the hardcore fans. So I think they found a really nice balance after the past, 3-4 years off, even though there was, some side deterrents with MWZ and Vanguard. But dude, I had such high expectations for this game. I thought they were going to knock it out of the park. And I'm so glad that the game is in the current state that it is, and that the community is really starting to accept it. And some of the critiques about the game prior to launch are now being accepted after actually getting hands-on with it. And I think about this game all day, every day, man. Like, I played the hell out of it week 1. I didn't sleep trying to get the camo knocked out of the way. And I just think like from a gameplay perspective with the systems, they were refined from Cold War. It is fantastic to have 2 maps at launch. I burnt out on D Machine pretty early on in Cold War, but like, dude, the ability to go from Terminus, where it's a whole experience that feels just akin to a Black Ops 3 map or a Black Ops 4 map, where you're in this unique world. The Easter egg is engaging no matter how many times you do it, to be able to go, okay, I don't want to spend, 30 minutes on the setup or 45 minutes on the setup. I just want to get to, round 30 or 50 as quickly as I possibly can to level up my guns or my rank and hop on Liberty Falls. Like, I think they've absolutely knocked it out of the park. And there, of course, are some things here or there that they could tweak or fix or add into the game to make it a little bit better. But I think this is best case scenario for them in terms of what the product that they put out there so far.
Yeah. And I think a couple things you just like alluded to in your statement. It's like, I don't think people appreciate how incredible and how difficult it would be for Treyarch to interweave a lot of the systems that they have to cater to all these people at the same time. Camo grinding, prestiging, weapon leveling, I already said prestiging, but then just the in-game grind of leveling up your weapons, points, taking little nuances from other games, bringing them into this game. Like there's elements from Black Ops 4 that they brought into here, elements from MWZ, elements from BO3, and they just like I just don't know how Treyarch did it. That they paid attention to so many minute details, and they wove it all together into this like beautiful game. And is it perfect? Of course not. And like I do have a couple gripes now that I'm through the honeymoon phase and stuff, and it's not perfect, and there's things I wish they would change, but for the most part, it's a really solid experience. I love just jumping in and killing zombies. I love jumping in and doing the Easter egg. And Terminus is a really good example, I think, of having that captain's whatever quest where you do the treasure hunt and stuff, like having stuff like that where, okay, I don't really want to do a full Easter egg and I don't really feel like the boss fight. I just want to grind cambos, but I want to have a little something extra to do. So I swim around, I open some chests, I might get the talisman. It's like you can really tailor your experience to kind of whatever you want at any level. And I think a casual person can just jump in and really get used to the systems. And if they want to go deeper, they have that option. And if they don't, then, well, they don't really have to.
I completely agree, man.
Well, actually, I was going to bring this up at the end, but I think this actually might be kind of a good time to bring it up now. Earlier, before we started recording, I was talking about FPS Psycho bringing up a Reddit post about Treyarch encouraging players to exfil at round like 31 when the game starts to get difficult, because that difficulty curve, like all this, it really is kind of jarring. You get to like round 32 and it's really difficult. And there's a rumor or a conspiracy, and I'll read the post here, and I will put this on screen for people who are watching. Came to the random realization that the game's difficulty ramping up around 31 to 36 with the mangler spawns or the massive damage fall off of weapons that happens at the same rounds potentially could be designed to push players into exfilling so that the games don't run much longer than an hour. MWZ had a time limit of about 45 minutes, and then with bosses or bonus missions towards the end, you can extend the game to about an hour and 15 minutes of game time. Well, zombies here in BO6 tend to take around the same amount of time. Coupled with the 15-minute pause timer on solo to accommodate server space, it seems incredibly likely that they are intentionally throttling the game to no longer be fun after round 36 to end games at about the hour 15 mark. What are your thoughts? Milo actually agrees with this, and because I guess him and J-God were talking about it on his No Nonsense podcast, about the fact that this is pretty likely since it's always online and they need to figure out ways to boot people off to save money so that they're not constantly burning a hole in the pocket of the devs or whatever. I'm not exactly sure how it would work, but apparently there are a lot of negatives to the always online sphere. And this is something I find to be quite interesting. What do you think about that?
I honestly could definitely see it, especially since most of the game is like was on-demand texture streaming now and everything. Like, just there's so many people that are online playing this game and they want to keep server stability, so that there aren't these crashes or there aren't these like down periods, or God forbid the whole servers go down and everybody freaks out. I definitely don't know as much about like server stability, so I don't have a ton of like background there to be like, I totally feel like that's the case. I think part of the reason why the game picks up in difficulty is to kind of almost like artificially make it harder so that people don't just fly to 50 or 100 like they were at COD Next. On top of, I think they're going to add things in throughout the DLC season, whether they're gobblegums, field upgrade, like Ring of Fire coming back at some point. That's a possibility. If they add Double Tap 2 back or Double Tap into the game, even though, it's debated one way or another, I feel like they're intentionally making it hard now so that when they add these OP features in, people aren't like, oh, since like the week one of the game, I've just been running Ring of Fire in the top corner of the Alamo the entire time, coupled with these gobblegums that are super OP. Like imagine if Shopping Free was in day one. You could literally run up to the top of the church in Liberty Falls, trip tap your weapon, and then get triple armor on round like 6. So I think that they'll either nerf some of the mangler spawns in time, especially after people start getting the more people get the camos knocked out of the way, even with directed mode being out now and stuff too. But I think it definitely could be a mix of both. I wouldn't absolutely put it past them to just kind of be like, oh, we want to save money in terms of our servers and, space in terms of stability, but also just kind of keeping things really hard now so that down the line when they do add in more OP gums or, field upgrades that are better than the ones that are in the game now or perks, like you're not just like in the Cold War situation where it's like, well, the game's too easy. Since day one, I've just been maining Ring of Fire the entire time, sitting in a corner, getting around infinity, basically.
Yeah, I do. I definitely think it's multifaceted. I think that's pretty fair. Have you been? I mean, do you find the game to be difficult after around like 40-ish?
Yeah, dude. The first like week of playing, I was like, man, this game is so hard. Like, I'm so bad at this game. Like, I don't know. Like, feel like I'm playing well and whatnot. But the more I unlocked the augments and kind of found like a good balance with each perk for myself, I don't ever go down because I'm getting like trapped in the zombies or because of the zombies or the mangler or the abominations are too difficult in terms of like them running into me or getting me in a corner. I feel like where I'm dying right now is just that the weapons are so weak after like 30, 35, like any of like the actual bullet weapons. There's not a good gun besides maybe the GS45 or the LR that can like actually like consistently kill zombies past like 30. And even then, like you don't even really want to be running. You're either using the jet gun or using the oh my god, what is it? The beam smasher, and then kind of using like you're using the alt fire in order to use a bullet weapon.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like the game is really hard right now, is that the weapons and like everything falls off past the 30s, but I don't feel like it's if you have like, PhD slider and the other like tac sprint augment on stamina up and you're fully kitted out. Like, I don't really think it's running around and survive. Like, I could probably play to like infinity running the trap strat, honestly, or something like that. It's really just the weapons right now either need to be upped in terms of their damage output on the higher rounds, or they're waiting until Ring of Fire or Double Tap are added into the game to be like, okay, now we're going to reassess and figure out like what the base version of these need to be.
Yeah. I think that's pretty fair. And what's interesting about the augments is when I was like looking at the list of them, like before I unlocked them, I was like, man, none of these really seem super cool. I mean, some of them are interesting or whatever, but and then I was playing and I kept dying, and like you, I was like, man, this is really hard and I'm trash and I suck and I should retire. But then as you unlock them, the power creep from the augments is actually really well balanced. It is. In Cold War, the power creep of all the crap you unlock was super it's like it's really obvious. Like you feel all 5 tiers of everything super heavily, and it doesn't really help because, like you were saying, the game is just kind of easy on its own. It's definitely more difficult than I remember because I've been going through with a fresh account and playing, but it's definitely much easier than like BO6. That being said, the augments, they have a nice power creep. Like they actually really, they do help, but they don't push me over the edge where I'm heavily overpowered. So I do like them. I think they're pretty good.
I completely agree, dude. Before I was like finding it hard to understand the augment system because like the only games I really play are like I play a ton of multiplayer and Warzone on the side. I play Zombies, obviously, and then like a couple of sports games here or there, but I don't really like venture out too much in the space. So like I was like, people are like, oh, the augments are like this from this game, or they're like this from this game. And I'm just sitting there like, I have no idea what you're talking about. So I was really confused. And I was like, it just seems like they're trying to limit your like power trip from Cold War and trying to balance it a little bit. And then once I actually started playing around with them and figured out what was going on, you're 100% right, dude. Like you definitely feel the augments and the boost in your abilities, but it's not like, oh my God, I went from taking it down on round 15 every game or getting absolutely smacked on a fresh account of Cold War versus, okay, like I'm getting enough benefit and boost from these augments to make me a better player and help me, but they're not so overpowered where it's like if I didn't have these on, I wouldn't be able to make it past round 10 or I'd be getting absolutely worked.
Exactly. Have you gotten to round 100 yet?
Yeah, I did both of them the first like 2 weeks maybe before they patched the salvage thing.
That's
where you
right.
could get score streaks from manglers or other score streaks.
That's right. And you know how I figured that out? Because I watched your video for a guide and then I tried to do it and it didn't work. And I was like, son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. Yep. So, yep. Okay. Lesson learned there. And, you know, I don't really have too much to say about it, but I just wanted to shout out Insomnia Virus for getting to round 999. I think that's insane. I barely have the patience to get to round 100. I find it to be, it's not, I don't think it's boring. Boring's not the right word, but like when I get to round 50 or 60, it's like, okay, I've done it. Like I just, I don't really want to sit here and kind of do that same muscle memory trick like over and over and over again. It just doesn't appeal to me, but for those high rounders that can do it, like kudos to you. I just, it's not in my blood.
No, absolutely. Shout out IV. I've been watching him since Cold War before I was even really doing YouTube. Like I found him on like a 2 a.m., 3 a.m. stream one time at like round 700 plus on Mauer der Toten. And I'm just sitting there like, dude, this guy's insane. Like I know people that go to like 225 or 255 or whatever the round cap was, but like he was going to like round 1,000 on Outbreak. And I was like, man, this guy deserves some recognition and credit. And I feel like for such a long time, people didn't want to sit and watch a stream that long or like stick with a stream that long because it was, you know, at the time it was Cold War. But now that Black Ops 6 Zombies is one of the most popular zombies of all time already, just because it's on Game Pass and it's so accessible to people, it's, you know, giving IV the chance to display his talents to the whole world basically, and people that are shouting him out. It's so good for him. But like, dude, yeah, it's such a mental grind. I mean, you have to have just extreme, not only focus not to mess up at any point, but the ability to sit there past 8 hours is absolutely mind-boggling to me. Like I've done 100 on most maps, a lot of them with gums and with like unlimited elixirs and BO4. And like I said, but by that certain point, like by 100, I'm like, I'm done, guys. We're done. That's it. Like I'm not going any farther than this. Like it's been 8 hours. I've been sitting here. I'm ready to like go get some. I'm ready to go touch grass. Like I can't mentally like continue to push myself past this point. But it is like an unbelievable, dude. It's like a marathon runner or like and like a truck driver combined to be able to just sit there and like lock in for 100 plus hours doing the exact same thing in one game, just trying to achieve a goal like 999. So dude, big shout out to IV. He's a really nice guy. I don't know him like too personally, but he's a real genuine guy. He's been in a couple of my streams before, and we've had like a good amount of interactions to where I could say like he's a dope guy and he deserves everything that's been happening to him over the past couple of weeks, all the success. Yeah,
it's definitely, and it's really funny because he makes it look so easy, and he's also like reading chat at the same time. And I don't know if people know this, but he did all of his Cold War stuff on a PS4.
Wow, no, I didn't know that at all, dude. Yeah, somebody told me today he played on PlayStation, and I was like, oh wow, I thought he was playing on PC this entire time. But no, yeah, now it makes sense.
All on PS4. And if you go back and watch his old streams, like he didn't always have the volume on super high, and you can just like hear the clacking of like the PS4 controller like over his mic, and it's just, it cracks me up. He's a good dude. So all right, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. So I really wanted to talk about Citadelle. I actually don't even know how to say it. Citadelle
de Mortis, Citadelle de Mortis. I don't know either. It's bad.
That's good.
This map's dropping in 3 weeks, and I don't know how to say it.
That's good enough for me. Citadelle de Mortis or de Morts, or I don't think it's de Morts. It's de Mortis. It has to be because it's French or something. So either way, we're just going to call it Citadelle for now. There's been a lot of leaks and rumors regarding this map. I actually watched a Mr. Dalek JD video before this to get prepped, because that's how I do my research before the test. I just study, I just cram right before. And there's a lot of information. So I'll just kind of spitball some stuff for you, and we can start wherever you want. So allegedly there's a, Umbral Blade, like 4 elemental wonder weapons, a new enemy, which is a ghoul, potentially a mimic. Dogs are potentially coming back. Obviously new field upgrade perk. There's even wonder weapon, or Wunderwaffe is allegedly in the code. There was a Raygun Mk II leak a while ago. I don't know if that's coming back. We have Shatter Blast, Light Ray as ammo mods. Like there's a ton of stuff. So wherever you want to start, I'm totally down.
I think before we actually get into the gameplay of things, I think they understand how big DLC 1 is, like this weird paradox that's been in the zombies community since literally, I'd say World at War was a little bit less, but Black Ops 1, where like DLC 1 makes or breaks the DLC season. And the only exception to it has been, in my opinion, Black Ops 2, where Dire Eyes wasn't necessarily heavily well received by the community, but like Ascension was a great map for the time, and everybody that I know was really into Ascension. Der Eisendrache is arguably the best map on Black Ops 3. I mean, it's subjective, but it's one of the best maps in history, and it was a DLC 1 map. You know, in Black Ops 4, Dead of the Night was great. It's just like they didn't do any marketing for it, and I think that really stunted the growth of that map. And even in Cold War, like Firebase didn't come out swinging, but I think they understand the importance of this DLC drop, not only to get it to us within the first, couple, 5, 6, 7 weeks of the game being out to keep people invested in the game, but I think they know how good of a map this is going to have to be in order to set the expectations moving forward for the rest of the year and keep players invested until February or March or whenever we get it. And I think that they couldn't have picked a better location for it. It's basically every map so far in this game has had like little callbacks to Black Ops 3 or older Zombies maps. Like at the end of the Liberty Falls or outro cutscene, dude turns around, Panos runs out of the portal looking like Rick Toffin from Shadows of Evil. Terminus, a lot of the Easter egg, the end of the first boss fight against Nathan, it was very Zetsubo no Shima vibes. And I just feel like they know they have to come out hard with this, and that's why, we might be getting those 4 elemental blades or 4 elemental swords basically. And I'm super, super excited for it, man. I just, the more content they can put into a map, the better, obviously for YouTube purposes, for tutorials and for all that good shit. But no, in terms of like the actual gameplay itself, man, those swords, I hope they're going to be so cool. I hope they kind of function similar to the Shadows of Evil sword. Each one, obviously, hopefully they're not like just the same elemental variants that we've seen forever. I don't think that they would be. But yeah, man, like everything so far just seems like lining up perfectly. It's almost like the stars are aligning with this game in terms of the content we're getting and how it sounds, at least so far. And I think before the game, people were like, oh, it sounds too good to be true to be getting some of the stuff that we're hearing, whether it's Gobblegums or all this other stuff. But now I think people have like the hope and kind of have the expectation that like, man, this map is going to be so good. Like I haven't seen one negative thing said about this map, even though there's no gameplay or anything out right now, but just with all the rumors going around about what's being leaked and all that stuff, it just seems like it's almost a surefire this map is going to be good.
Yeah. Well, I definitely don't appreciate the Dead of the Night slander. I will not stand for that on this channel.
No, dude. I love Dead of the Night. I think it is one of the most, if not the most underrated map in history. I think the marketing is just what cooked them, because I remember not really being into YouTube at the time. I mean, not really doing YouTube at the time, but all of a sudden on some random Tuesday, I looked at my phone and they're like, Dead of the Night dropping tomorrow or DLC 1 dropping tomorrow. And I feel like people just never had it didn't get the marketing that it should have gotten, but it was fantastic, dude. It might be my favorite Black Ops 4 map.
I know. I'm just kidding. I if you think about it, it's kind of funny that they dropped Dead of the Night in the Dead of the Night. And like, I get that that's like the whole, the whole meme, but it's really weird that like a multi-billion-dollar company trolled us with the map.
Yep.
So I'm looking at the Hey, I'm Alex guy. I can't remember if it's this guy that I was annoyed with at launch when he was going to leak the Terminus steps or
the Easter eggs.
Was it this guy? He pissed me off.
I think he was one of them. Yeah, there were a couple of people. Him and I think Forward Leaks were kind of starting to say some things about where things were. I mean, like they were never like damning steps where they just leaked the hardest step of the Easter egg, but it was like alluding to what could be done in order to get certain wonder weapon or to complete a certain step. But I was nervous too. I thought he was gonna like straight up just like put a spreadsheet out of like, here is every single step for both main Easter egg quests. Enjoy kind of thing. I was getting scared.
Yeah, I definitely don't like that. I don't mind when they leak like what a potential wonder weapon could be or something, because I think that gives us stuff to speculate about, because usually we're wrong, and that's what makes it fun. There was something else you were saying. About people trusting the developers. And it's funny because for a while, us as a community, we've been thinking like, man, Treyarch has just been getting screwed since 2019 with the end of Black Ops 4, and then they got screwed with Cold War, and then they got screwed with because with COVID and from Activision, and then they got screwed with Vanguard, and then they had to like make MWZ, but then they were pulled off from it. And so it's like every single time Treyarch was doing something, they were either cut short or forced to make something in a short amount of time, like preemptively. So it was just, they were always short on time in every single aspect. And it was like, why do the fans have to suffer? I suffer is a harsh word. It's an extreme word, but just like in the sense of
some suffering.
yeah, it just sucked. It basically sucked. Like, why do the fans have to pay for this product, this expensive product, and they don't get the full experience of what they usually do? It was definitely unfair, but you know, people were like, if they don't bring the heat this year, then like they're officially cooked. Like all those other excuses, like sure, maybe they did have some things against, you know, going against them, but at the same time, like now they have 4 years, and if they don't deliver, like it's over, guys. It's over. So I'm really glad that they told us, hey, we're back, we're here, we never left, or whatever.
Yep. Really quickly, I think an underrated part of, maybe not, obviously they don't have a direct hand in the maps that are coming out in the quality, but I think that Microsoft coming in and actually being able to buy out Activision, they're not a perfect company by any means, and obviously there's still like bundles every other day in the store and stuff, and you know, we'd obviously like the game to be, you know, as much free content dripped to us as possible, but I think that was honestly the best case scenario for Call of Duty, because this is the first title that they've actually had. I think I've had on Game Pass, but Microsoft has actually had at least basically a year's hand in, where like MW3 last year, they had just bought Activision out, but like the amount of stuff that was coming out about Activision and the prior ownership, it was jarring. And I'm like, I don't even know how anybody's supposed to work for this company when some of the stuff that was being said about Activision was coming out there. So I think Microsoft kind of understands. I think they might be even learning from the Halo franchise. Like I played Halo growing up, and they released Infinite, but it seems like they rushed it. And even though they poured a lot of money into it, they were like, we want the content out there now. We want to see it out there now. I think that with Microsoft kind of backing Call of Duty and Activision in general, like I could be completely wrong here. I have no idea what I'm talking about. It just seems like ever since that purchase went through, there's been a little bit more hope that like, okay, it's not all old Activision anymore. That reign has kind of been let up a little bit, and there's a little more flexibility potentially that Treyarch has to execute their vision and not worry about meeting shareholders, you know, demands. And even though obviously they have to make money and that they want to please the shareholders and they want to have the highest stock that they can have, it just seems like ever since then they've almost had like more flexibility to do what they want. I know MWZ was cut short and everybody wanted more. I wanted more MWZ. I was a fan of the mode, but I would have much rather had that happen and taken a huge L there, and maybe money been down during MW3 to give us a mode like this over the course of a couple of years than what it was.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think from what I understand, just because I like to look at other games in the industry and kind of understand how they work. And apparently Xbox and Microsoft as a whole has a really hands-off approach when it comes to their developers. And I think they just kind of let Treyarch do what Treyarch does. And also generally when these giant mergers happen, there's a ton of redundancies in positions. And so I don't know if when they purchased Activision, if they merged a lot of the jobs between Microsoft as like, or Xbox Game Studio, and like I'm not sure if there was any overlap, or if they just purchased Activision as like a giant entity and they were like, you can keep doing things how you kind of were, we'll be hands off. But then, you know, with Bobby Kotick out of the way and some of the other higher executives, maybe it's just a completely different environment. Like I have no idea, but whatever they're doing right now, it seems to be working. And so I'm okay. I mean, it never really affected me that much anyway, but I'm okay. I'm happy for it.
Right.
So elemental swords, the code in the game says, I don't really know what the hell any of this means, but Bloodstone easy, Bloodstone life, Bloodstone fun, and then Bloodstone dope. So I'm not exactly sure. That doesn't really give me too much to work with, but I guess if I had to say, elemental swords is the one thing we really haven't had. We've had elemental melee, we've had elemental DIE shockwaves, we've had bows, we've had stabs, we've had. Is that it?
Mark IIs.
Mark IIs.
Mark IIs. If you count them as like elementals.
No, I definitely do. I count them. I just forgot. Krakens. The Kraken.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we've had a lot of elemental stuff, but swords is one thing we haven't had. And as somebody who is a fan of Ancient Evil and Black Ops 4, I've always liked the elemental gauntlets, but I always felt like the gauntlets were kind of lame. Like I liked the powers they had, but I felt like on my fist, and like I like when the character is holding something. It makes it cooler to look at on the screen. And the gauntlets in Ancient Evil just they were missing a little bit of that oomph like the staffs have or the bows have. And so I think a sword is a really, really awesome idea. I definitely want to see some sort of badass electricity or storm. Like I think anything like that is just a must have. Like we always have to have a cool electric. And then but other than that, like I'm pretty open to them trying new things inside of the elemental space. Like they can try a death, but like give it a new spin. With the bow and Drak, they had those skulls chase you for the void, which is super cool. In Ancient Evil, they had the gauntlet suck the zombies to the depths of hell. Oh, you know what? Alistair's Folly is kind of an elemental wonder weapon, but
yeah, it is. That's even though it's not like craft the specific one. Yeah, I totally forgot about that too.
So I would love to see them actually try different elements. I don't know if we've ever had water. I don't know how you would really do that, but I don't think we've had it. I don't really know other elements there are off the top of my head. Think about it, but like, I don't know. Do you have any ideas of what you would like to see?
No, dude. On my past couple of streams, people have been asking me like, "What do you like?" This exact question, and I've been like, I genuinely don't know. We've had it done so many times that like I genuinely don't know what they could do other than stuff that they've already done. But like you said, with their eyes and Drak, like the void bow was so cool. Even though not very many people used it, the concept of it was like it was amazing. It's something we hadn't seen before. It was so cool to see the keeper heads kind of fly around at you. Dude, I don't even know. Even based on like the stuff that you were referencing from the code, it doesn't even like give me like the first inclination of a thought to be like, oh, that could be like the only thing I can think of for dope is like some sort of like smoky. Obviously, it's not going to be like a weed bundle, like sort like hilarious. A giant doobie or some shit. Yeah, no, like it. I don't know. Like I genuinely don't know where they could go from there with these, but I'm open to whatever they throw out there for us. You know, like I don't, like you said, the one thing I do want to see though is some sort of like electricity, like I feel like that's kind of like the stand, like you need one of those that are just like super OP and fun to use. But I mean, dude, no, I'd have no idea where they could possibly go other than like the water you mentioned. Maybe, I don't know if you've played Leviathan, like Poseidon's Wrath, which was like the buildable staff that you could do and it would shoot water. That's the only like thing I could think of that would even be like close, would be like creating some sort of like splash effect when you slash through the zombies and it like pushes through them with a wave. But that's outside of that, I have no idea what they're gonna do, but I'm definitely open to it.
Have you played World War II Zombies?
I played the first map when it came out, and that was like during Fortnite. So I'll admit, like the first like about 4 months of Fortnite, I was completely just enthralled in that game. So no, I didn't go and get to play anything besides the launch map.
No, it's all good. I just, if I don't know if you just remember the scythe from the final map, the Frozen Dawn. I
think I've seen Stanley using it.
Okay, so the scythe is the melee one of the melee weapons. There's like 4 melee-ish weapons in that map, and the scythe has this. You can just, I think it has some sort of electricity effect, if I'm not mistaken. So it doesn't really matter. The point is, when you swipe it, it has like a sweeping effect. If I'm, again, I might be misremembering. It's been a while since I've used it, and it can kind of push back a bunch of zombies at once. And I think that it kind of almost like basically what I'm alluding to is I think each weapon should at least have that baked in, kind of like almost the Shadows of Evil sword. It's like as a standard, it should at least be able to perform a mini kind of thunder gun attack where as you swipe it across, it's pushing the zombies away to give you tons of space. And then as long as, I don't necessarily care if it's like, you know, wind, lightning, fire, and ice. Like, I don't even care if it's an exact carbon copy of the Origin staffs. But what I do care about is how they showcase the animations of the elements. So one of the things that was super badass about the Earth Gauntlet, the Gauntlet of Gaia or whatever it was called, is it was like bringing up the earth from the map. Like that was so sick. And in the fire bow inside of Dreisendrach, when you would shoot it, it would like bring up a mini volcano thing.
Volcanoes, yeah.
And then those aspects of the elemental bows were actually used by the boss in the boss fight. Like he was using the same attacks against you. So it's like, I love when they do these cool animations that not only tell a story of well, just look cool in general, but and tell a story inside of the map, but then they tie it into the actual world building and the final bosses and stuff. So as long as they do that stuff, I don't care if it's a turd elemental wonder weapon, as long as it's cool.
Yeah.
So
no, I completely agree, man. As long as it's satisfying to use, I feel like that's kind of like at least half the battle, especially with some casual people. Like my girlfriend's brother is not a Zombies player at all. He's been big into multiplayer throughout his life, and he's been kind of giving this year more of a go with Zombies because I do YouTube and stuff. And we played the other day, and he's like, dude, the one thing I'll say is like, I wasn't really a fan of Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, Black Ops 3 Zombies, but what I like most about this game is how satisfying it is to use these weapons. Like just whether it's destroying a mangler or using the like just the standard base weapons or even the wonder weapons. He's like the gunplay and like the actual like gameplay is so satisfying. And I think that dude, like you said, with the animations, as long as they have some really sick ass animations that blow people away, especially if there's like upgraded variants that change those or make them better, they're gonna, I don't care what they do. Like you said, they could literally throw poop out there for me. All I care, and it'd be
or a
good
giant
sword
joint.
for me. Or a joint, yeah. Roll up a giant cloud of smoke.
That'd be hilarious.
Oh my god.
So there's some other things. Basically, the Raygun and the Wunderwaffe allegedly coming back. I know the Raygun was like in the code. Now it's not in the code, so I'm not really sure what that's going to be. Either way, I don't think a Wunderwaffe or a Raygun will be in the next map. I do genuinely 100 billion jillion % hope they bring it back, because the Raygun Mk II, I'm not really a Raygun simp, but I am a Raygun Mk II simp. And I wasn't even playing Zombies during Buried. So, but I don't know what it is. I just fucking love that gun. It's so much fun to use.
Yep, dude. I think that they should kind of copy. Well, I mean, they didn't do it throughout the Black Ops 3 maps, but like copy the BO2 formula here, where like maybe you save it for DLC 3, or if it's really in the code and this exists at some point, like save it for down the line so that people use the good old ray gun for the first map or two and like try out those wonder weapons, and then put it in like DLC 3, but then be like, all right, it's going to be in the box in every other map too, which incentivizes you to go back and play the other maps and see how they play. Because they did that with Black Ops 4, right? It came out with Alpha Omega, and then they added it to the box in Blood and Classified, I think.
And Tag, yeah, they put it into into just the ether map. So here's the thing: is like for the ray gun, I think I'd probably be okay with that because it's just like the wonder weapon. But like, I do hope they keep some stuff map exclusive. You know, like one of the things I hated about Cold War was like, it's just like the ray guns everywhere, the same perks are everywhere, the same field upgrades are everywhere, and then Outbreak came out, and then you have like 8 maps there or however many it was, and then I have the Die Shockwave there, the Ray K there, the ray gun there. I think that was it, but it was just, you know, it kind of just removes the immersion and the uniqueness of a certain map. And and with the classic wonder weapons, it's a little bit different because we've seen them so many times. Like, it's not the end of the world if they're everywhere, but I hope they have exclusive guns in some maps that aren't in others, that you just maybe have to bring with a loadout only or something. But I am curious to what field upgrades are coming. Like, we don't have Frostblast, Ring of Fire, or the Tesla Storm. I don't think we have Tesla Storm, right?
I think Tesla Storm might. I haven't used it, and I could be wrong, but I think it might be like an augment for Dark Flare, where it changes the shot that you have. I guess it wouldn't be like it technically do the exact same thing, but it kind of changes the like the laser effect of that one into a ball, which kind of might be the same. But I haven't used it, so I have no idea. But I think that might, if they don't ever bring it back, that might be kind of why.
Do you mean? Are you talking about the root one, or are you talking about Tesla Storm? Because Tesla Storm, I thought, like, was a chain effect that kind of did put an electric field around you.
Yeah. I dude, I honestly just got that out. I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Okay.
That I swear there was an augment I haven't used, but I swear there might have been an augment that like kind of did that. Instead of it just being like a chain around your body, it was like shoot into the zombies and it would almost create that. But I could
okay.
be
No, I haven't used it either.
Just shout that out.
I'm an idiot too.
Okay.
No. I can't remember what the one it's from. Toxic Growth, I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, with like the weeds or whatever that would pop up.
So there's Toxic Growth, Frost Blast, and then Fire or Ring of Fire. Those are the three I think we're missing. But I'm surprised Frost Blast is not there. That's like my go-to is Frost Blast. I love that one. And so I kind of want that just back in the game, but I always want new stuff. Like I would take new stuff over repeat stuff, but like what do you think is coming down the line? Like, do you want Ring of Fire back? Do you want Frost Blast? Do you just want new stuff? What's your gut telling you?
Dude, my main was either Ether Shroud or Ring of Fire throughout Cold War. I primarily ran Ring of Fire for like the weapons during the camo grind, where it was like I need to get these terrible weapons leveled up and also get the headshot requirements for them. I would love for it to come back, although I wouldn't be mad if they were like, we're not doing it again because of how OP it probably would be. And like I can only imagine the high round strategies if you're using the Speed Cola augment that charges faster plus the Gobblegum Arsenal Accelerator that charges it, and you could literally just sit in a corner for eternity with it and just not even be bothered by anything that comes at you. So like again, from a creativity standpoint, like I couldn't just like off the top of my head be like, oh, this is what they should totally add in or something like that. But I don't know, maybe like it's the same thing as Ring of Fire, but some sort of like defense perk. Maybe like the Scepter of Ra from BO4, isn't it when you put it down, you kind of had like that force field around you? Mm-hmm. Maybe another like defensive perk, because honestly, most of the ones that are in the game are almost primarily defensive, aside from I'd say maybe like one more defensive perk like that could help you out, and then start getting into like the Frost Blasts, the Ring of Fire and stuff to kind of make things a little more offensive centric towards the back half of the DLC season, so that it's not like, okay, you can just all the maps are super easy now. But I don't know. I'm like 50-50 on Ring of Fire coming back, because part of me is just like, yeah, I want to be sitting in a corner just cheesing the jet gun or cheesing whatever wonder weapon I've got. But at the same time, I'm like, it would just kind of, people start to be like, oh, it's breaking the game or it's devaluing like all these other, like nobody was running most of the other field upgrades because of how OP and broken it was in a certain strategy at a certain point. Like, there was no like high round strategy involving some of the other ones, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, there really wasn't. It's kind of interesting that Treyarch created it even. It really is super OP. What is it? It increases your damage and it makes you have stock option baked in, which is another thing. Stock options in the actual Gobblegum system now. So like that kind of removes that ability. So really, I'm not sure what place it would have if like you said, you could just use Arsenal Accelerator and then whatever augments you were mentioning, and you could just kind of be broken. But I don't mind if the community comes up with fun and creative ways to become OP, as long as like there's other viable strategies. Like for me personally, like I didn't like that the manglers and stuff were dropping score streaks as you were in the score streak. I thought that was kind of cheap, but like it's really hard now, and I still haven't gotten around 100. So it's like, I kind of wish it was there because I want the cheese, but I think Treyarch just needs to figure out a way to balance it. But like, I honestly think there needs to be something like Frost Blast, because Frenzied Guard, like it doesn't really get you too far out of a sticky situation. Ether Shroud, I guess, does, but I just liked being able to kind of push the zombies off of me and then like sprint away.
Yep.
And I don't feel like there's any perk that really, or a field upgrade that really does that as well. Ether Shroud just kind of cloaks you and you're invisible, and like, I don't know. But the other thing that I'm interested in coming back is this new ammo mod, Light Ray. Or, well, I shouldn't say coming back. That might be coming, is Light Ray, and then Shatter Blast is coming. I'm curious what Light Ray could be. I'm almost in a way, imagining it working like the effect in Zetsubo Nishima with the skull of Non-Stopway, like where it would kind of pierce through their skulls and like, you know how it works. I don't really it's hard to describe. But that's like what I'm imagining the ammo mod could do. All right, let's see. So we've pretty much covered everything regarding like leaks. Oh, well, I guess there's like the new bosses. But my main thing, because I obviously the new boss is probably going to be heavily spammed and it's going to be annoying. It's going to piss everybody off, but hopefully it's fun. But my main thing for Citadelle is, what is this main quest going to look like? And when it comes to Terminus, and I don't know if you've seen my my recent review on the map or anything, but I was talking about how Terminus, I'm going to get a lot of crap for saying this, but I think Terminus is a little bit too easy with the quest. And I think it needs either some more steps or it needs a little bit more obscurity. And so I'm hoping that this quest has some really either wild steps that are super cinematic and have a lot of spectacle to them, or they're a little bit more obscure, less handholdy with the comms kind of being like, hopefully they find the node connectors.
Yeah. No, dude, I actually 100% agree with you here. I was going back the past couple of days and just speedrunning it, not like in a speedrunner way, but just to get like gameplay of the new weapons that came out with season 1. And I was using Wunderbar to get the beam smasher from the box. And I was like, dude, I'm done with this quest. I'm done with like what feels like 60-70% of the quest after I get the beam smasher in my hand and get that tentacle step done. And like, I will admit, like the quest to get the beam smasher, it's something. Like there's a lot going on there. You do have to put a lot of time in order to get it. But once you get through that step, you can pretty much do the majority of the rest of the Easter egg within like a 1 or 2, or maybe like, let's say a 3-round period. And by 20, you're just kind of stocking up salvage and points to get yourself kitted out for the boss fight. Like it's not like there's no, I don't know, some of the maps that I've played before, I don't know, like I don't have one off the top of my head, but like I feel like I'm going into the boss fight at like mid 20s, late 20s, or like I'm just finishing up the Easter egg, like, and when the zombies difficulty is really starting to kick in. And I was just thinking about that the other day. I was like, man, like this is one of those maps where most Easter eggs you beat 5 times, you're gonna have a good grip on, you get done pretty quickly. But like, dude, going back and do it, I've done Gorod Krovi over 100 times, and every single time I do it, I'm like, man, some of these steps, like I'm getting nervous for this. So like I got to sit up and actually like think about this and 100%. Think about what I'm going to do here. Whereas Terminus, like it's definitely a step in the right direction from where they were at with the Easter eggs in Cold War. But I feel like they could still kind of kick it up, maybe like third, like 33%, 40% difficulty increase in either some of the steps, some of the ways you acquire some of the parts, or like you said, just some like really crazy cinematic steps of the Easter egg.
Well, the other thing is, oh my God, I hate when I think of something and then it just leaves my brain.
Drops. Yeah.
Adding more. Oh, okay. I remember what I was going to say. All right. So here's the thing with Terminus, and I didn't realize this until I was actually making my review, and you kind of alluded to it as well. You're like, oh, well, you finished the Easter egg, and then like, yeah, your boss fight, like you could get into the boss fight like pretty quickly, like around 20 maybe, or maybe even earlier if you're super efficient. And then it got me thinking, like before I made the review, I was like, oh, well, after I finish the Easter egg, well, then I'm just kind of grinding, trying to get set up so I have purple pack-a-punch weapons and have all my perks. But then I realized, if I do that, what the hell's the point of the Easter egg reward? And then it clicked on my head. You're not meant to go into the boss fight fully set up.
Yep.
And I don't know how I missed that. And so basically, yeah, once you have it, maybe tier 2 and purple weapons, like you don't need to go into the boss fight tier 4 fully packed. Like you're not meant for that. So this is what I was talking about with Dalek, and I'll bring it up again here. It's like Black Ops 4 did something interesting where setup in that game was pretty easy, and the more I think about how Zombie was made, I actually think Black Ops 4 was a little bit more for the casual than people would like to admit. Because if you think about how to open Pack-a-Punch on Blood of the Dead, it's one shield blast. On 9, it's 4 skulls that you like. It basically, there's one gong in every tower. Like, you're bound to figure it out. With Voyage, you go up to 4 little altars,
pedestals, and they're all like labeled like with how many you've hit, which like kind of giving you like a hint to where to go. Not like where to go, like directing you, but
like
up, down, left, right.
Pack-a-Punch is so simple. But the thing is, so okay, my point is getting set up in Black Ops 4 was pretty easy. You can get 4 perks at the most. The wonder weapons are in the box, and the Pack-a-Punch is super easy. So you could actually get set up by like round 10, like if you were really lucky. And with Black Ops 6, it takes you like 30 rounds to get fully set up with both weapons fully Pack-a-Punch, with both weapons fully kitted out with like tier 4 or legendary or whatever the hell it is. It takes you, so many rounds to get all 8 perks. And it's just, it takes about, so whereas it would take like 7 to 10 rounds to potentially get fully kitted out in Black Ops 4, it takes like 30 rounds to get fully kitted out in Black Ops 6. And then in Black Ops 4, you would either, after you get set up, you either continue through your Easter egg and go to your boss fight, or you just continue killing zombies until you're done. And then in Black Ops 6, it's like the inverse. It's like the Easter egg takes only a few steps, but your setup takes a lot longer. So what I was hoping for, because Cold War had a similar situation, but the game was just also easy. My hope for this game was that Black Ops 6 was going to split the difference and make the setup longer, or keep it or just as long, or however long it is, but then also make the Easter egg parallel to that. So you got the grind in that setup of Cold War, which they introduced in Cold War, but then got the long same amount of steps that we had inside of Black Ops 4, so that we had this nice tandem experience of having shit to do all the way up to when you get fully set up. Now, maybe they could cut it a little bit short. So like maybe you have like 6 perks and 1 legendary weapon that's pack at tier 3 and 1 that's purple at tier 2 or whatever. And you can have a nice balance. And if you want to get fully set up, you can, but then it's like, there's no Easter egg reward. So you got to kind of like pick which camp you want to go in. And I would say it's probably better to have an actual Easter egg reward than to not. But if that's going to be the case, then they need to make the Easter egg a little bit harder, or not have such a drastic, what's the word I want to look for? There's like a very stark, building the beam smasher and then like picking up a hard drive from the tentacle monster is so it's like night and day in difficulty. And then unlocking Nathan from his cell, or whatever you want to call it, his containment chamber, is so simple. There's no barrier. So yes, it's like, okay, the community didn't know where the hard drive was. Like they had to figure out where that was, but it's like, okay, well now we know. And all I have to do is shoot a trap for like 2 seconds and then hand it to Peck. All I have to do is look at 3 spots on the map and put a code in. Like there's no barrier to it. It's not like, oh, I have to throw a grenade through a window to blow up something behind the wall that knocks down the sign that will reveal the code. Like at least something like that to add a barrier to get the stuff, because otherwise it creates these like peaks and valleys of difficulty, which I find to be jarring. It's like I go from having trouble building the wonder weapon to like not having any trouble up until really the Nathan boss fight, and then maybe the bomb defusing step. But other than that, everything in between, it's like super easy. Like I don't even have to try. So I just hope that they create a much more gradual and exponential difficulty curve that goes in tandem with the gameplay and actually has a barrier challenge when it comes to discovering some of those more simple steps, because you need simple steps in an Easter egg. It can't all be over the top, tedious, and difficult. You have to have breathing moments in between a building of a wonder weapon, in between a mini boss fight. Like there has to be those moments of calm. So yeah, that's all I got to say there.
Do you think that when they were crafting at least the Easter egg for Terminus, like at COD Next, Kevin was talking about how like only 5% of the people that actually play the map complete the main Easter egg. Do you think that they have that like on their mind now when they're completing things, being like, well, we want to make sure that it's long enough and like that the quest is, you know, at least like minimally challenging enough for like the hardcore Zombies fan to get done, but that they're in the back of their mind, they're like, well, we can't do this because we don't want, you know, the average person to get stuck here or just not be able to beat it. I mean, I know directed mode kind of negates some of that to where like they can practice before they actually do it, but I don't like, I didn't mind that comment coming from Kevin because like, I understand like even like looking at the achievements now, and granted it's watered down by MW2 and MW3 and Warzone players, but like less than 0.08% of 0.08% of people have completed the Terminus Easter egg as of this moment. Like only like 1.2% of people have beaten Liberty Falls. So like, do you think that they're like, oh man, these are too hard for people to beat, or we don't want to make this so over the top or have these really challenging moments to do this so that more people will be interested in the Easter eggs? Or like, I don't like, what do you think about that?
So that's a great question. And I guess my general answer is like, I'm not really sure. Like I do think it's on the back of their minds all the time, but here's the thing. Hardcore fans are really they're the ones that want to do the Easter eggs. And so what do I mean? What's a hardcore fan? Well, I would say you and I are hardcore fans, but I also think the hardcore fan definition is actually a little bit broader than we give it credit for. I would say like the YouTuber class, like people like us and Mr. Waffle Waffles and stuff. I would say like we're the niche of the hardcore, but like I have people commenting on my videos that are saying like, oh, the Easter egg is you know, on Terminus is still too hard for me. But in my head, I'm like, bro, you're commenting on like a YouTube video about this game. Like you're involved in the community. Like you're part of the hardcore community. You might not be as skilled as like more of the more seasoned players or people who play all the time, or maybe they're just better than you. But I would still consider that person like a hardcore person.
You're right.
And in my head, when it comes to like, so now I think about multiplayer, like I know that there's Easter eggs in multiplayer, like on Nuketown and stuff, and they have like certain things that they hide in over there. Even with Warzone, there's certain events and stuff like that, and I want them to be catered to that audience. Like when I go into multiplayer and when I go into Warzone, when I go into other games like Diablo 4 and stuff like that, I am just playing the surface level experience. Like I don't really care about going deeper. So yeah. I want there to be stuff for that hardcore community so that they have a good time. So okay, so where am I going with this? I think that the casual gamer or the casual Zombies fan, I think that they maybe don't necessarily care about completing an Easter egg, but I do think they enjoy I think they enjoy the perception of it. It's almost like the Super Bowl. Like I don't want to play NFL. I have no interest in being in the NFL. I don't like playing football. I don't want to be an MLS player. I don't want to be an NHL player, but I'll watch the Stanley Cup and I'll get enthused about it, and I'll watch the Super Bowl and I'll have a good time, and I'll still even root for a team even though I don't care. So I almost think it's like that, where you look at these videos like, you know, First Blood of the Dead completion by Milo or Noah, and it has like 2 million views. And it's like, there are a lot of, I would say, you know, semi-casual to hardcore people that are watching those videos. And I would also say that casual to hardcore player base has a kind of a wide breadth and somewhat of an overlap of people that just want to participate and see what's going on. But I think when it comes to the niche people, like that are commenting on videos, participating in the community, I would say at large, like they are what I would consider like a light hardcore to yeah, I would consider them like light hardcore. People on my channel that are like finding my channel and commenting about how they're completing the quest with their friends for the first time or whatever. Like, I feel like they are participating in something that's kind of niche. But I think if you just are a passerby and you want to see what's going on from afar, as like watching a Mr. Wunderwaffe's video or like a Noah J, like they are name brand content creators and you're watching their videos. Right. I feel like they could potentially be considered casual when it comes to the perception of the Easter egg. And I don't know how the devs, I don't know how they solve this problem, because they're never going to convince casual fans to do it, no matter how easy they make it. And the more they water it down, the more that's going to piss off the hardcore fan base. So I don't know how they solve for it. I think they just need to say, listen, we've made this grindy game that appeals to casuals from the gameplay, but we're going to have more of a hardcore aspect to the Easter egg, because that's what the hardcore fans like. And I think they just need to like stick with something. Terminus is a great middle ground, but I do think that there needs to be some work to make that the progression through the Easter egg a little bit more, like I was saying, stabilized. It's too jarring going from like building the beam smasher to shooting a tentacle monster. Like the difficulty is too stark.
Yep, 100% agree.
It's hard to categorize these fans. Like it really is, because like I do think people who participate in YouTube, I would maybe consider them more of like a hardcore fan, like commenting on videos, like engaging on Twitter with the devs and stuff like that. But then, but I think as like just an average viewer watching a Mr. Wunderwaffe's video, like, I don't know, is that a casual fan? I'm not really sure. What is a casual Call of Duty fan? Is it just some dad in the middle of Iowa that plays Call of Duty for 1 hour a week? I don't really know. And then if it is that person, then who is Treyarch catering to? So I don't know. It's a complicated question, I think.
Dude, I've never even thought about it like that. Like, that's such a mind-boggling question to really think about, like what a casual fan is. Because I feel like somebody that would describe themselves as a casual Call of Duty fan is like I play like, for an hour or so or a couple hours after work every night, and I'm not really sweating, or I'm playing on TV versus a dedicated monitor when I got I'm sitting up my keyboard and stuff. But like, even that, like, if you're 100% right. If you're commenting on YouTube videos, you're in a community, you're in the niche. Like, you are. That's not even casual. Dude, that's I can't even believe. I can't even comprehend like that question, bro. You've completely like opened my mind to that, to even like thinking about it now, because it's like, dude, what is the hardcore? Even just like Call of Duty fan. What is the casual Call of Duty fan really actually look like? Like, what is that?
Yeah, I'm not sure, and that's why I'm trying to kind of like define it, because if we consider people who are in the niche to be hardcore fans, and it's like, I think there's going to be an overlap of people that are able to complete the Easter egg, some that can't, and they might be spectators. And so are those all hardcore fans? Like, it's all 2 million of those views on Noah J's video for the Blood of the Dead, Easter egg. Are they all hardcore fans? Probably not. I would say mostly maybe a majority of them are. But then what if the casual fan is, Bob the mechanic in the cornfields of Iowa? Then why is Treyarch catering to him anyway?
Right.
Yeah. But even if they do cater to them just a little bit, which I think is okay, like, I'm not saying to just ignore them. I think it's totally cool if just like me, who's not a super hardcore sports fan, like, if they pull up a YouTube video and watch the Easter egg and they're like, wow, that's super sick. Like, I don't want to do that, but I love watching it. Like, I just enjoy participating. Yeah. And so it's the reason this argument's so confusing to me is because at some point finding that middle ground has you contradicting yourself, because it's like, on one hand, I'm saying, oh, if you're a Noah J fan, if you're in the niche, then you're a hardcore fan. But if you're an observer and you watch it, you're a casual. But it's like that, they're still watching it on YouTube. So I'm kind of saying two things at the same time, and I understand it's a little bit contradicting. But I guess I'm asking viewers watching this, where is that line? and how do we define it, and where does Treyarch, how does Treyarch as a company dictate what, like, where the difficulty fits within that boundary? Because if it means the super duper niche hardcore community gets what they want and the casual fan can watch and enjoy, I don't think there's anything wrong with that if everybody's kind of happy. But if we water down the Easter eggs so that Bob from Iowa with 7 kids who plays Call of Duty for an hour a week, who's not even going to do the Easter egg anyway, if we water it down for him, well, he's never going to experience it because he's too busy and he doesn't care. And now the hardcore fans play it once and they're like, well, that sucked. So then kind of nobody wins. So yeah, it's kind of, it's a confusing question.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, sorry, dude, I'm kind of a weird person.
No, dude, like no, you're good. I love having these conversations because like I'm in the exact same boat as you, and I have these with like 1 or 2 is like of my really close select friends, and it's just like, dude, I like, but I've never even like thought about it like that before, so it's just kind of blowing my mind.
Well, let's we've gone way over, and I appreciate your time. I'm sure you have a life. I just want to do the wrap up questions, and they'll be quick. They're like quick answers, and then we have the lightning round, which are super fast answers, and I'll get you out of here so you can get back to what you do best, which is create amazing content here on the YouTube platform. Aww. So let's start with the wrap up questions, and thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it, man. So thank you.
Appreciate you having me, dude. This has been so much fun.
Yeah, it's been a good time. So let's just dive into these wrap up questions. What zombies map do you or mode, I guess you could say, if it's a mode, what do you dislike the most?
I think Outbreak and MWZ both have really good like characteristics to them that could be side modes. So I won't just do the cop out and say one of those. I'd say the map that I really just can't stand is probably, dude, oh my god, I gotta think. This is so bad. Probably, it's supposed to be fast. Fuck. Let's just go with, in my opinion, I think the worst map is Forsaken. I just think that it doesn't feel like a zombies map to me. I feel like the Easter egg is way too easy to complete. The wonder weapon's cool, but it falls off pretty hard. I'd have to go with Forsaken. I don't know why. It's never clicked with me.
Fair enough. And yeah, these are just supposed to be gut responses, you know? So like just go with your heart, and your heart can't let you down until the community yells at you, and then you might have a change of heart. But for now, we're going with our gut. Besides Treyarch, who do you consider to be the best zombies developer?
Definitely Infinity Ward, dude. I think that IW Zombies definitely got hated on a little too much. I think it was obviously because Chronicles came out and it was just attached to the Infinite Warfare game, but definitely IW's had some heat come out of their studio. Yeah, I do agree. I do, not to prolong this, I do think that batch of devs is probably gone, so I don't know if they would ever be able to bring that up. So but I would love to see them take another stab at it. At least it would get me to play another Infinity Ward title. All right. So I guess this is kind of a secondary part to this question. Who would you like to see take another crack at zombies again, if you could? Dude, honestly, I mean, it probably, you're talking like just dev.
Yeah, like, would you like to see Raven do it, Sledgehammer, Infinity Ward?
I think at this current stage, I'd say probably Sledgehammer. I think that they have a lot of passion for the mode and just Call of Duty in general, and I think that they could put out a good product if they had the dev time and the resources. Yeah,
I would probably pick them. Infinity Ward has changed so much, and I'm not exactly sure. It's not that I distrust Infinity Ward. It's like they just don't make a Call of Duty game that I enjoy. And I don't know if they hate Call of Duty. I've heard that they're having trouble with their identity with the game. But it just seems like everything they've been making lately has just not been hitting. And Sledgehammer really does have a lot of passion and a lot of fun in their titles. And I would love to see them take a stab at it. All right.
Really quickly, you can cut this out if you want, but did you see the the leak. I don't know if it was the same dude that we were talking about earlier, but they were saying that like Infinity Ward basically has like one more chance not to fuck up the game. Otherwise, they're going to be just kind of reduced to like support team.
I didn't hear that specifically, but I heard that they were having trouble with Modern Warfare 4 or whatever they're calling it, like
Whatever it's supposed to be.
like the game has no identity. They lost direction. I did not hear about the support staff though. That would be crazy if that happened.
Yeah, it really would. I saw that too, and I was like, man, that's insane. But I mean, over the MW19 was all right, and then like Modern Warfare 2 was a disaster. I played a good amount of multiplayer in Warzone, and I lost interest very early on in that game. But I did be crazy to not have Infinity Ward headlining any Call of Duties ever again.
Yeah, I mean, the next question's about hottest takes with COD Zombies, so I'll just kind of start you off. I personally think MW19 is the worst Call of Duty ever made. I think it has had such a negative impact on the franchise, and while I don't think it as I don't think it's a bad game like on its own merits, but the ripple effect that it's created in the franchise really has kind of peeved me off. So do you have any crazy or hot takes about COD Zombies?
Probably my hottest take for me personally is that Origins is not a top 5 map. I have this conversation all the time with a lot of people. I think that the wonder weapons are really cool. I think that all the side quests are super dope. I just wish that the portal stayed open after you complete the main Easter egg, so there were fast travels like Shadows of Evil. I hate going from the church all the way back to Gen 1. Even riding the tank, it's just too slow for me. And there's like really no fun places to kind of be on that map other than just straight up the crazy place after you complete it. So it's not a bad map by any means. It's still definitely one of the better maps of all time, but like I don't think it would be my personal top 5.
I 100% agree.
Let's go. Dude, you have no idea how many people hate that I even like speak negatively in the slightest about Origins, but it's so nice to hear somebody else be like, yeah, I kind of agree with you.
I genuinely like Origins quite a bit. I think it's super fun, but every time I go into Origins, it's never to do high rounds. It's never to kill zombies. It's to do one thing, to play the quest. And then once I play it, Easter egg. I'm done. I'm done for a while. Like and the thing is traveling around that map. You basically summed it up for me. Traveling around that map, I think, is not good. I don't enjoy. I mean, I guess the tank is fine. Like it's cool. I think it's cool, and I love love the environment and everything. But the atmosphere of the environment. But the crazy place is like the best place obviously to be. But like you said, the fast travels are all locked off. You have to have things set up a certain way. And of course you could say, oh, that's strategy. And sure, I'm not saying that you're wrong, but all I'm saying to the fan out there arguing, all I'm saying is that Origins has a really big issue with map flow, in my opinion, because it's just a long like strip. And so you start off at the spawn and then you have to run all the way to the church, and you can't really like do anything else other than that. I guess you can hop through the mud or whatever, but you can't hop back. So like you're just running back and forth across this like long map. And I just don't think I just don't like it. I just don't like that.
100%, dude. So nice to hear somebody else kind of have similar opinions there. Yeah,
this is the based and zombie pilled podcast. So I was just curious because I asked this about everybody. We did talk about YouTube for a little while, but do you cover any other games on YouTube? I know you probably don't on your main channel, but do you have another channel that you do stuff with? If you could have another channel, what would you do?
Dude, I think for me, I would love to branch out into multiplayer and Warzone. I'm not like the best player at either mode, but I do enjoy playing them. A lot of my in real life friends and just people I grew up with have been playing multiplayer and of course Warzone since it came out since we were kids. I would definitely love to branch out. I know that's like almost near impossible to do in the zombies community. Like so many people just try and it doesn't work out because the zombies fans most of the time don't like multiplayer or Warzone, but I did have a side channel for a while where I posted Star Wars Battlefront content, and it was like starting to pick up as they canceled support for that game. So my dream situation in gaming would be that at some point DICE gets the license to do a Star Wars Battlefront 3, and I wouldn't like quit doing zombies content. I'd still obviously upload and be in the community and stuff, but I would literally I'd give a leg for a Star Wars Battlefront 3. That game was so good and the franchise was so good and it's just been shafted left and right.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, not to get in the weeds, but I think if you make the content right, I think you could branch out to multiplayer in Warzone. Lego is a perfect example of that. So it can be done. It can be done. But he does have the niche of like grinding. So it depends how you position it. But anyway, now we're in the lightning round. These are just quicker questions than before. So are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Perk limit versus no perk limit.
I'd still say no perk limit. I think it's fine how it is now. Like I've been pleasantly surprised with the Wonder Fizz, but I think that side quest to achieve more perks is the best way to go.
So like having a perk limit and then getting perks with the side quest to have more perks, or what do you,
yeah, like kind of like Origins with like the bottles,
Gotcha.
like the golden perk bottles, I think is like the best way to do it. It's like you could still get all of them, but like don't make it so that you can just run to the Wonder Fizz and grab them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Shield versus armor.
Shield all day. I don't mind the armor system. I think it's all right, but I would much rather build a map specific shield that gives the map a little more ambiance.
I think it would be cool if they made like a map specific armor vest. Like what if they had like a on Terminus, maybe not Terminus, but maybe on Liberty Falls, like there's oh my gosh, I'm about to create an Easter egg right here, guys. You're about to see Treyarch development style Easter egg development on the fly. Here we go. In the ice cream shop, you do a side Easter egg and you pull a frozen armor vest out of somewhere. Ooh. And it gives you Winter's Wail like abilities. Wow.
Oh, that'd be so cool.
Round of applause. A+ development. Kevin, hit me up.
Hire this man.
Hit me up.
Hire this man.
I have no dev experience, but I think I'd be a great asset to your team. All right. Double tap or rarity system?
I think the rarity system, it gives a little bit more, makes you think a little bit more in the lower rounds on what exactly you're doing and what you're spending your stuff on. But I think there might be a place for double tap too.
Yeah. The rarity system I do like. I have no issue with it except for primary issues. The thing that sucks about it is like once you invest in a gun, you don't want to like invest in another one. And so then it kind of like if I ever, want to just switch a gun mid game, it kind of makes that hard. I guess the wall guns have like, I guess maybe not. Cause now I can, if the gun is like fully tiered up because of the round progression, I guess maybe it doesn't really matter, but the pack-a-punch kind of impedes that. It's complicated, but
it really is.
All right, favorite consumable system. So this means like, do you like Fate and Fortune cards? Do you like Gobblegum System A from Black Ops 3, Gobblegum System from Black Ops 6, World War II Zombies consumable system? Like, what are elixirs? There's a lot to choose from now.
It is. There's a lot of them nowadays. I'd still probably pick the Gobblegum System from Black Ops 3. I know that a lot of them were OP and they gave you a lot of them were pretty broken. I wouldn't want Liquid Divinium back. I just like the Gobblegums in general, but I think that the way you earn them in Black Ops 6 is fine. Then they better do this. They better add a Newton's Cookbook, dude. I have so many of the lower tier Gobblegums and the lower rarities that but I have like no ultras unless I buy those. And it's like, I want some way to be able to turn those lower tier rarity gums that they give me every single fucking time I play.
Yeah.
into higher tier gums.
No, I do agree with that. I will admit I bought some Gobblegums.
Me too. Hey, I'm here for you.
I just wanted to see I just wanted to see. And B, I'm a simp. What can I say? I hate Origins, but I'll give Activision money. So
you can have my money for good bundles and gums.
Yeah. Maybe they can make like a faster tank for Black Ops 2 bundle.
Right.
Okay. So now here's where things get a little hard inside of this lightning round. If you could eliminate a developer's era, would it be Jimmy Zielinski's era? Would it be Jason Blundell's era? Or would it be Kevin Drew's era? And now I know it's more than just these guys. There's a lot of developers here, but they are the kind of the faces that we have anointed. So which era would you remove, good sir?
Oh my God, dude. This is such a tough question. I like where we're at right now with the systems, and it'd be tough to not see BO6 through. And I like where we're headed as a franchise. I can't go against Blundell. I'd have to say, like, I'd have to go Jimmy just because of the way things started to go down. Obviously, kind of redeemed himself with Buried, but Black Ops 2 was an absolute disaster until they kind of let Jason step in. But that doesn't mean I don't like the originals, man. I grew up on the World at War and the Black Ops 1 maps, so you know, those will always have a fun place in my heart. That's almost an impossible question to answer, but just because of how BO2 went down in the beginning, I'd say Jimmy.
And the other thing is, like, I love Easter eggs, like, or main quests. Like, I love that. And the older maps just didn't really have them. So it's like, well, even though I don't love Cold War, at least there's quests and boss fights. And that kind of does a lot for me. So, okay. Let's see. Who would win in a boxing match? Cameron Dayton or Lee Ross?
Ooh, Lee Ross, easy.
Okay. Should open world zombies come back?
Yes, but in an off year where we're not supposed to get regular round based zombies. Don't mix it into the main staple DLC season.
Okay. You have made it through the gauntlet. We are very over on this podcast, but you know what? It was a good conversation. So I appreciate your time, good sir. Thank you so much for coming. I know I talk a lot, so thanks for humoring me.
I'm a big fan, man. I'm happy to be here.
Likewise. So thank you all for watching at home. I know we had some hot takes here, trying to work some things out about what it means to be a casual fan, what it means to be a hardcore fan, talking smack about Origins. There was so much other stuff I wanted to get to, guys, but I hope you enjoyed the episode. A little bit longer one for you today. Thank you so much for watching at home. And don't forget to leave your questions and comments in the comment section below so that we can actually take some of your community questions about DLC 1. So the next podcast we have, when we are speculating about what's going to be coming, we can feature you in the episode. So thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned for the next one, and I'll see you guys all later.